Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled The Restaurant, the Karen and the Spatula. So this happened 2 days ago during my lunch break. While the Karen screeching was not directed at me, I was able to observe it all go down firsthand. Backstory. I have been going to the same restaurant, for lunch, for the past 2 months. It's a small place, but the food is amazing and prices are low. As any regular, I eventually got pretty friendly with the staff and the waiters. I tip well and always try to be smiling and nice, they deserve it. As such, I know everyone who works there and the manager's girlfriend. She comes in from time to time to have lunch around the same time I do, and we greet each other with a nod and a smile. That's all the backstory you need. Now to the show. As usual, I arrive at around 1 p.m. and see the Karen walking just slightly behind me with her kid. I open the door to the restaurant and hold it so that they can pass. I'll let you guess if she said, "Thank you," or not. We go in and the restaurant is packed. There are only 3 open tables, so Karen and her kid take one and I the other. Literally a minute later, the manager's girlfriend, GF from now on, walks in. She goes up to the bar and talks with her boyfriend, briefly. Due to the chaos, both of the waiters are overwhelmed and GF helps one of them carry a set of trays to a table. She is cool like that and sits down on the last remaining table. Admittedly, service was kind of slow, but due to the sheer amount of people, it was understandable. Well, understandable for me, not the Karen. At some point, she just scoffs and bolts up, walking to GF's table. Karen. Excuse me, can we order? GF, caught off guard. I'm sorry, what? Karen. Can we order? We have been waiting for 10 minutes. GF. You will have to ask a waiter, I don't work here. Karen. Of course you do. I saw you carry trays. GF. That was just to help. Karen. And now you are taking your break? You just came in. How can you be so lazy? GF. Seriously, ma'am, I don't work here. Karen. Bullshit. I saw you. You have to take my order. At this point, a waiter manages to get to them. Meanwhile, I can see her daughter literally trying to unsubscribe from existence. Waiter. Ma'am, is there a problem here? Karen. This lazy idiot won't take my order. Waiter. She doesn't work here, I can. Karen cuts him off. Karen. I saw her working. I want to talk to your manager. She can't behave like that. The waiter just shrugs and asks the manager to come. Manager. Ma'am, what's going on? Karen. She refuses to serve me. You have to discipline her right now. Manager, without ducking blinking. I will be sure to spank her with the hardest spatula we have later, but at the moment she doesn't work here and can't help you. Waiter here will be happy to take your order. Karen is just sitting there, mouth gaping, as if she was struck by the lightning of Zeus himself. The restaurant is quiet, GF is blushing a bit, but smiling. I am doing my best to not laugh out loud and failing. You can hear muffled chuckles from other tables. After about 20 seconds, the Karen huffs and drags her poor kid out of the restaurant. I tipped a lot that day. The next story is titled I'm Not a Paramedic Though. This happened today while I was at work, and I decided to create an account to let you guys know about it. I'm a cop and was mistaken for a paramedic. I have basic first aid and have a defib in my cruiser, but that's it. Often cops and paramedics get called to the same call even if technically it's purely medical and there's nothing job specific for me to do that the paramedics can't do. Often I'll hang out for a little while longer after it's been determined I'm not really needed, just in case the paramedics change their mind due to the patient getting violent or something. Of note, we have similar uniforms, but I have a red stripe down my pants, carry a gun, and I have word police in huge letters on my back and the front of my vest, while paramedics have paramedic written on them. If you're literate, and know paramedics don't carry guns, you can tell the difference. Also, if a cop tells you that they're not a paramedic, that should be a strong hint too. Today I was on scene when a kid started having some sort of medical emergency where he couldn't breathe properly. Paramedics show up, lights and sirens, and get him into the back of their ambulance. They left the lights on as they're blocking a lane. Once they get the kid in the ambulance, I'm standing outside waiting for them to head off. My cruiser was parked a couple meters from where I was standing as well. A lady comes up to us and goes, "You need to turn off those lights." And I reply with, "They aren't my lights, they're paramedics, and they're a little busy right now probably saving a life." Lady replies with, "Those lights can cause a seizure. How dare you put people in danger like that? That's so irresponsible." Well, I'm not a paramedic, I'm a cop, so they're not mine. I gestured to my vest, which says in huge white letters on navy blue police. I looked around. The kid's family was standing at the other side of the ambulance and were basically the only other people there. A few people are in the area were paying no mind to us at all. And this lady herself was definitely not having a seizure in my non-medically professional medical opinion. Look, the lights are on for a reason. It's for driver safety to alert drivers that there's an ambulance in the middle of the road. You aren't having a seizure and neither is anyone else, so if you don't mind, please move along. I hate crowding at scenes. Some of this kid's family was close by and they did not need random strangers causing a commotion and adding more stress to an already stressful situation. "I cannot believe how rude you are," she yells back. "I'm going to complain to your boss. You can definitely tell my boss I didn't turn off ambulance lights. My badge number is XXX. If the lights are pissing you off so much, you are welcome to leave. You're in a public area free for people to come and go in." Unbelievable. She stomped off after that, which was good. I haven't yet received that complaint. Probably because I'm not a paramedic. The next story is entitled Delivery Driver Believes Road is His Own, Personal, Driveway. This just happened on my way home. I'm driving up the small side avenue that leads to our driveway. It's an avenue, like a regular street, with houses and cars parked on the road, and other driveways. Very clearly a two-way road. As I'm driving up, I come upon this Lexus. Of course it's a Lexus, trunk wide open, with stuff in it, and driver's side door open. I can't see in the car with the tinted windows, and this motherducker is in the middle of the road. In the middle. Like, didn't even try to pull to one side or the other. Or pick a lane, period. Just put himself in park. Didn't even turn off the car, no flashers on, nothing. I'm tempted to pull around, but, with the door open like it was, and how the car parked on the side of the road was real close to it, I wasn't sure I could squeeze through without taking his door off, or hitting the parked car. So, I beep, right? Figuring someone in the car might close the door, then I could pass fine. Nothing. I'm looking around, I don't see nobody. Well, actually, it's a fairly nice day out, so there's a couple of PPL out and about in their yards, but no one seems to be acknowledging the car. Finally, from behind me, comes this kid. I think it's a kid. Big guy, but young, probably a HS athlete. I haven't seen him around, so not from this neighborhood. He comes up to the trunk, grabs some more bags, and starts to go back. I roll down my window. "Bro, can you close the door so PPL can pass?" He fucking ignores me. Maybe he got headphones in? I beep, he jumps, laughs, keeps fucking walking. Don't even turn around to look, nothing. Bro. Close your door, man, learn to fucking park. Nope. MFER doesn't even turn his head. Now another car is pulled up on the other side. Big truck. Like, one of them huge things I couldn't even imagine how I would climb into. He ain't passing. No way. Between the car next to him and the door. Actually, I don't think he could pass with the door closed. I see him looking at me. I point to where the kid walked over to and make a big mime show about shrugging my shoulders. He gets out of the car. I roll down my window further while he walks over to the car and looks in. There's no one even in the car. He calls over to me. Looks around. I'm not sure what he did then. If he locked the car or made sure it was unlocked. He pressed a button on the door though. Then closed it. Got into his truck. I back up to give him room to swing around. Which he does while ducking, barely missing the Lexus. I mean, it look him a bit. Kid's watching this, at this point, and as the guy drives off and I'm about to go, he walks right in front of me, and grabs more crap from his trunk, and then walks off again. Like, don't notice the door got closed, nothing. Which is the first thing I would notice, make sure I didn't get robbed or nothing. Especially if a witness was behind me. I dunno, maybe he watched. So he walks off and finally I'm able to go, careful not to hit the actually parked car, doing the right thing. Like, 10 minutes, I had to wait, a block from my own damn house. Like, seriously bro. Part of me really wanted to see if the guy locked the door on the kid, and watch from my lawn. But, I had groceries to bring in, and as I brought in the last bag and shut my trunk, he drives by. I scream, "Learn to park, a-hole," with my middle finger up. My wife asks what that was all about. So I tell her the story. And now you. The next story is titled Lady. I'm pretty sure he not only doesn't work here, but is deaf. This happened today. I had to pick up some kitty litter and garbage bags on my way home from work, so I stopped at Kroger to get said items. Naturally, I got really distracted and started wandering the frozen aisle as I was struck with a need to get ice cream. I noticed a young man in the aisle with me, mainly because he was fairly attractive. He was a Hispanic guy, tall and wearing a soccer jersey and sweatpants that have been cut to be shorts and flip-flops. Like I said, only noticed him because he was cute, but he also seems very young to me, maybe late teens, early 20s, and as I just turned 30 I noted his hotness but dismissed it. I was searching ice cream for one that doesn't contain anything I'm allergic to, a time-consuming task. Unfortunately, when I heard a woman's voice. It took me a minute to realize that the voice was slowly getting louder and louder, repeating, "Excuse me," with increasing agitation. I looked over, drawn by the loud noise, and saw a woman standing behind the young man. She was looking more and more angry as she kept demanding attention, and I, being the busybody I am, could not look away. She eventually reached out and jabbed her finger into young man's shoulder. He spun around, and I mean spun around, looking utterly startled. She immediately lit into him. "I've been trying to get your attention forever. How dare you ignore me when you're paid for your shitty customer service? I need help, yada yada yada." I realized with my own slow, dawning confusion and horror, the same emotion you'd feel if you were watching a Chihuahua pick a fight with a Saint Bernard, or seeing a car crash, that she thought he was an employee. I honestly couldn't look away. The woman was getting more and more angry, and the young man begun to flash his hands at her. I realized abruptly that he was deaf. It's pretty obvious, he was pointing at his ear repeatedly and trying to sign. This only infuriated the woman even more, and she started swinging her hands around, saying, "Look, I can do that too. Show me where the frozen pizzas are, damn it." The young man was starting to look really terrified, and I couldn't help but step in. I work in social work, currently with addicts, but before that I was in foster care, and before that I was a security guard and bouncer for years and years, and before that I was in the military, so I have a strong urge to butt into any and all things that don't involve me if I feel a vulnerable party needs to be protected. I briskly walked up and gently pulled the kid away. I explained curtly, but politely to the woman that he clearly did not work there and was most likely deaf, and could she please calm down, she was causing a scene. She accused the young man of lying to get out of doing his job, that he was faking being deaf, and how the hell did I know if he was deaf? I pointed out he was fairly clearly signing and still was doing so behind me. She challenged me, "If he's deaf, tell her what's he saying." I just stared at her. "I don't speak ASL. I explain this and point out that it was pretty ducking clear that he can't hear, and could she just go duck off somewhere. The brash language triggered her or something, and she attempted to grab me. Besides being a former bouncer, I have PTSD, and if I could walk around with a sign attached to me with big-ass lettering that said, "Do not touch," I would. My first instinct was pretty much to slap my hand out, unbalancing her and sending her careening into the nearby glass case. Now, I'm 5'7" and about 160, and in my office clothing, so I don't look intimidating, but I can be if I want. I squared my shoulders and tried to make self as big as physically possible. The lady proceeded to lose her absolute shit. She started bawling, leaning against the glass case like I've broken her spine or something, sliding down as she kicks her feet against the tile and screaming, wailing at the top of her lungs. I swear to God, every Kroger employee in that store probably converged on our location in seconds. I quickly explained what's going on to first an employee and then to the manager, who appeared just as quickly. The manager took one look at me, then the poor kid who just looked like he wanted to die of embarrassment and terror, and then the woman who was still screaming about how I've broken her body. "Call the police." The manager swung about and started rapid-fire signing to the young man, who looked so relieved that he's about to cry. She then turned to the woman and told her in the coldest, most frosty voice I've ever heard in life that the cops would be called, but it wouldn't be me nor the young deaf man facing their wrath. The woman just stared at her blankly, going completely pale, and then got up and sprinted from the store. The police were called, we filled a complaint, but as she'd left there wasn't much we could do. The nice young man emphatically, if a little shakily, signed, "Thank you, the only sign I really know." And we parted ways each with $100 store voucher thing. I drove home and promptly cracked open a bottle of wine, because honestly what the actual duck? Still in shock. The only thing I can think is the lady must have some mental issues, but I mainly feel so bad for the kid. Being in such a hostile situation with no way to communicate. Poor guy. The next story is titled Don't Be Mean to the Fairy. Wife and I were shopping, as people do, and reading ingredients to make sure our friend with the potato allergy could eat what we're getting. I'm tall for a woman, and have pink and blue hair, so I'm used to getting some stares. A woman and her daughter pass us while we're reading ingredients for panko crumbs, and the little girl who can't be more than 4 looks at me, wide-eyed. She whispers something to her mom, who looks at me and grins. Ask her. Sushmi, are you a fairy? Wife and I laugh, I tell her I am and wink, and we go our separate ways. Halfway through the store, my chronic pain flares up really bad, so my wife goes back to the front to get me a mobility cart. I hate using them and stubbornly try to avoid them, but I'd done a lot of walking that day and that was apparently all I could handle. I'm sitting on a chair in the furniture section with the cart, messing around on my phone and waiting on my wife to come back. I hear a whistle. I glance up. There, standing in front of me, is a man, about 40-ish or so, looking right at me. WD equals whistling dude. WD. Rude to be on your phone when someone needs your help. Me. What? WD. I need this shirt in a different size. Me. I don't work here, sorry dude. WD. I need this shirt in another size. Me. I don't work here. WD. Don't make me get your boss. Me. Thinking about this turning into some I don't work here lady crap. Did you not hear me? I don't work here. WD. I don't care. You shouldn't just be sitting there. He throws the shirt at me. It's a shirt, so it just kinda flutters to the floor. He stomps over and tries to grab my phone like the a-hole he is. Me. What the hell? Help, help. 3 workers come running, thank God we live in a nice area, and push the guy back. He's bright red in the face, vein throbbing on his forehead, and I'm sitting there, heart pounding, and wondering how the hell this stuff happens to me. My wife, apparently hearing me from a few aisles over, jumped off the scooter and ran to me. The guy keeps yelling, the employees are radioing for security, I'm shaking, my wife is demanding to know what happened, and then I hear it, the little girl from earlier. Mom, he was mean to the fairy lady. He's a mean man, don't be mean to the fairy. I just had to laugh. Wife and I finished our shopping with me in the stupid scooter. The managers kept coming up and apologizing to me. We got some discounts on our groceries, and the cops were talking to the guy when we checked out. Next time we went there, the manager on duty recognized me and told me he got banned from the store for shoving the manager. The next story is titled Lady Gets Pissed I Can't Help Her Feed Her Starving Children. Duck it, I'm bored, I've got one of these to tell. I used to work at this Christmas wreath place. I oversaw cutting down trees and throwing them in the back of a pickup truck in -20°F mother ducking Wisconsin. The work was fine, but obviously that meant wearing like 3 sweaters, gloves, boots, the whole getup. One day when I was driving to work, I decided to stop by this one store I like to go to. They had good off-brand red bills, and I was going on about 30 minutes worth of sleep. As I'm walking over, sleep-deprived and pissed off, a woman in her 40s cuts me off looking equally pissed. W. Where are the graham cookies? I stare at her ducking dumbfounded, hell if I know. Me. No idea. W. Well, can you get me someone who does? Me. No? And that set her off. She looked like the red poobah from that kid's show in the early 2000s. That was and still is the absolute fastest I have ever pissed someone off. She told me about how she's been here for over half an hour and how her kids are waiting at home starving, really. And how much of an idiot I was and how she wanted to speak to my manager. And this is when I realized, this crazy idiot thinks I work here. People at this point are staring and I'm just done with all this, so as soon as she stops for breath, I interrupt her. Me. Woman, I don't duck work here. And suddenly her entire demeanor changes, she stutters and looks at me all confused. W. Oh, I just thought, aren't you going to the freezer? Me. What? I'm just trying to buy some drinks and go to work. She immediately looks embarrassed, which I got to say, was damn satisfying. W. Well, you look like one of the people who work in the freezer, so I thought you were an employee. Me. No idiot, Jesus Christ. And that was it, I just kept walking. Still pisses me off how she literally switched personalities as soon as she realized I wasn't an employee. She could yell it with no repercussions. Retail is ducked. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.